Nation, there has been something going on, something brewing in the metal universe. It's not necessarily new, but I'm noticing that it's springing up again, and finally it's sprung up to the point where I have to say something about it. This whole idea, this whole little subculture, this whole thing about true metal versus poser metal is starting to drive me a little bit batshit crazy. Now maybe this is just because I have advanced in my years as a metalhead, advanced in my years as a metal veteran, and perhaps it's just something that doesn't have that much relevance to me anymore. Or maybe it's because there is a new subculture brewing of genre bashing, of band bashing, of things bashing that maybe I started partially, that has kind of gone to a wicked, ridiculous level. Now granted, whenever I do all of my reviews, whenever I do my band reviews, whenever I do album reviews, and I say that something doesn't seem to have relevance, I'm saying that it doesn't have relevance at all. It's got something that just does not seem to click, but yet for some strange reason society catches on. Now that's traditionally something that happens whenever you tend to listen to music that is not very well received by a widespread audience. It's something where you're kind of on the outside looking in, whereas they're on the inside looking out. They're actually having the same debate that you are in your head. Why don't they like this? Why don't they listen to this? Why doesn't this resonate with them? We have that exact same idea. But this whole true and poser metal thing, what's true metal, what's poser metal? I can't think of any other genre that really goes through this much faux classification of what is actually metal and what actually is not. You don't necessarily hear somebody saying that's not real rap, that's, that's poser rap, that's this, it's that. Now perhaps there's some, that's not crunk rap, that's actually gangster rap, that's not gangster rap, that's actually West Coast classic rap, that and this. You might have some little minor gripes about minor classifications, but they do not escalate to the level that I have seen with real and poser metal. Let me just say something for the poser metal crowd out there. I am not here to actually enhance this argument. I'm not here actually to bash you guys about this. I'm actually here to talk to the people who claim to be true metalheads, that claim to be true metalheads and feel the need to classify things as such. Just because a band doesn't necessarily have the same breed of heaviness, just because a band decides to go about things a different way, does not necessarily not make them true metal. Remember in my 5 reasons why people love heavy metal video, I explained the fact that metal is probably the most diverse genre in the history of music, considering it can envelop everything from the darkest and most bludgeoning and bloody depths of black and death metal, suicidal doom, but it can also go into avant-garde, it can go into chamber music, it can go into, something of that accord. This is a genre that literally can swallow and envelop everything, and it can have a metallic quality to it. Which also means that there's going to be a couple of things that are going to be classified under this umbrella that you're not going to believe are metal because it doesn't sound like the heavy bands, the black and death metals that you like and you appreciate and you love this genre for, but that doesn't necessarily discount it as a metal band. Most of the bands that I see targeted as poser metal don't even necessarily even have metal in their subcategory. Even if you look on Wikipedia, even if you look on other websites, this is a classification that doesn't even touch base. This is something where purely, I've noticed, many of the fans have alarmingly decided to classify this band as metal because it is something that is heavier by comparison to what they traditionally listen to. And whenever this argument comes up, it causes the red flags and the true metalers to come out and say, no, that's poser metal. You should say, no, it's not metal, it's actually pop punk, or it's actually screamo, or it's actually this or that. This is not something that is really that determinant of whether or not they can enter into the clan of metal. Because just because they listen to A Day to Remember does not mean that that same person doesn't have any appreciation for a band such as Halloween, or Watain, or Iron Maiden, and Judas Priest. Does that instantaneously make them a universal metalhead? No. Does the fact that they didn't listen to that not make them a metalhead? Well, yeah, but at the same time, your metalhead instincts are telling you that they have to listen to primarily metal for them to be a metalhead, whenever they don't even have to do that. I'm a rap fan, even though I only listen to maybe 4 or 5 different artists in the rap universe. I'm a huge alternative rock fan. And let's face it, I'm a jazz and blues fan, even though I probably only own about 2 or 3 CDs worth of blues or jazz combined in my collection. But I'm a fan of the music, and you don't see people looking at me like, hey, you can't do that. We shouldn't do that either. There isn't any such thing as poser metal. Maybe it's something we don't agree with. Maybe it's something we don't like. Maybe it's something that compared to the things that we listen to, it sucks. It's something that doesn't have that same veneer, that same vigor, that same charm that we fall in love with bands that perhaps are not known by as many people, but for some people, that's all that they have. Now, I know that a lot of the people and a lot of the bands that I classify as, bad or something I don't like are traditionally bands that are associated with this poser metal tag. I'm telling the fans, continue listening to what you want. Even though I don't like it, it's just my opinion. While this idea of there's being no such thing as poser metal is also my opinion, I find it also one that has relevance. Principally because we do not need to continue to weed people out whenever we have a grand number of people that are coming in thanks to some of the bands that we just don't want to admit actually happens to be metal. I understand that we are being invaded by new people, but that is what genre expansion is all about. If you spoke to somebody a couple of years ago before this boom occurred, you would hear them say, I kind of like metal as it is now, but I wish there were more fans. Well, more fans are coming. And as they decide to explore more and go forth on their musical journey, they will come and become drawn in even more because metal has that mysterious mystique about it that I consistently talk about, that I consistently praise. It is there. The gateway is not what makes you a junkie. It's whenever you try the junk that you become the junkie. These people might not be metalheads on your radar as of right now, but in a couple of years, they may actually be bigger metalheads than you've ever been. Stop it. Just quit it. I understand that some bands are getting away by saying that their shit is metal. They're full of their own shit. They're full of their own selves. Remember, to be a true metalhead, we are accepting of all. We say fuck the world, we fight the world, but whenever it comes to our own people, whenever it comes to our own bands, we do not need senseless division even further than the senseless division of genre, subgenre, subgenre, sub-subgenre that is already going on. Calm down. Hot Topic is going to be there whether you say something or not. Spencer's is going to sell what they want, and all the little kids that are buying poser metal gear are still going to wear it. You raising your voice, you talking down to them, ain't going to do much about that. Just like me talking down to a Taylor Swift fan isn't going to make them stop listening to Taylor Swift. I don't want them to, but I just want them to know that they're listening to shit.